come up with high gelatin capsules and herbal tea bag formulation. For the high gelatin capsules, it's not enough to just say, oh, this thing works, and then you just maybe take some powders and that's all. The high gelatin capsules offers to do so many things. One of it is to improve dosage accuracy and stability. Imagine that you have a bucket of paracetamol powder and your doctor tells you to take 1 gram of it. You might have a problem with measuring that if you don't have a measuring system. And that is why pharmacists in the industry have decided to formulate it as tablets, isn't it? And that is why we have also decided to formulate this as capsules so that it improves dosage accuracy and stability. Another thing is that it protects active compounds from degradation. These are natural products and we want to keep them as natural as possible. So we are going to be adding so much excipient which might even lead to interaction and toxicity in the body. Another thing is to enhance oral administration efficiency. It has been found by research that it is easier for people, not the major population, but a very significant number, especially me in person, to swallow capsules better than tablets. Because one, it masks the taste, especially in drugs that have bitter taste and odor. Another thing that it does is that it increases palatability and enhances pharmaceutical evidence. So it also reduces systemic toxicity and it enhances controlled release. Then for the herbal tea bags, it is simple, culturally acceptable, and cost-effective. Think of your Lipton or top tea. You just wake up, boil water, you dip your tea bag into it, and you have your tea. And that's what we actually want to achieve. So instead of people chugging down conventional drugs every day of their lives with the aim of reducing their inflammation, we can just do these herbal tea bags where you just, the dose is also going to be specified because you're not just going to shove agbalumos seed powder into a tea bag and then market it. So that's what the herbal tea bag seems to achieve. Next time. And now, and I mentioned that it has its health impact, which we have talked about already, meaning that it reduces the risk of inflammation without toxicity, unlike the NSAIDs. Then I also mentioned that it has its environmental impact, meaning that you are transforming waste into something that is of useful and economic importance and value. And then the third thing is the economic impact, where we'll be talking about the sustainable development goals like I mentioned earlier. The United Nations actually has 17 of them, and they created them in 2015 with the hope that by 2030, most of them would have started working in place. And out of the 17, I have 3 major ones. The first one is the SDG 3, which is health related, so for good health and well-being. Accessible anti-inflammatory products for all, whether it is the encapsulated product or it is the herbal tea bags. And then the second one is the Sustainable Development Goals 12, which is for responsible consumption, where there is waste valorization and sustainable resource use. And then the third one is the SDG 13, which focuses on climate action. It reduces agricultural waste and ecological impact. Having said all of this, how do we make money from this? Because it's not enough to just know that agbalumos can have anti-inflammatory effect. One of the focuses that we have for making money from this is by contract harvesting, where we're not just going to randomly picking agbalumos seeds from the road.
Please round up 1 minute.
Okay, sir. So the first thing is the contract harvesting, where an already existing agbalumos tree, which we have around, can serve as a source. So instead of you just planting your tree, because trees don't grow overnight, one of the things that we would do is that contract harvest, where there's a particular percentage of the harvest annually that we would have. And then we are able to use it, extract the seeds and then use it. Another thing is the formulation with the capsules and the herbal tea bags, which will serve as a source of revenue to this. And then it will also improve local manufacturing, creating job opportunities for so many people. Think about the people that will harvest their agbalumos seeds. Think about the people that will do so many processes involved in bringing this to life. And note that I said earlier that this also doubles as my final year project. So this project has actually been carried out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mala Comforts. Question time. The first question I'm going to ask is How do you intend to gather agbaluma seeds? What happens normally is that people buy when they're in the vehicle, they buy at different points and they're just throwing the seeds away here and there. Agbaluma seeds in this country. That's number one. Then agbaluma is seasonal. Agbaluma is seasonal. Are we not going to have a problem of shortage of seeds for production of your drugs? The other thing that I want to comment about is this issue of herbal medicine being cost effective. My observation nowadays is that herbal medicine is becoming even much more expensive than conventional drugs. So I'd like you to comment on that also.
So, we have to mention the first question. Second question is the answer.
Okay.
So, I mentioned where I was working on that. We would do something called contract harvesting. When I was doing my project, I had to buy a basket of agbaluma, and then I couldn't get it in, obviously, so I had to share it around, collect the seeds. That's
Sorry, that would also, if you do contract harvesting, you are harvesting the entire fruit. You need only the seed. Do you understand? It will make the drug more expensive. What will have been good is, just getting the seed after some people have taken the fruit itself. So that still remains, a critical problem. Go ahead.
so apart from the seed, the pulp, which is the fruit, is also useful for so many things. Some of them it also has anti-inflammatory.
But you work on the
Yes,
seed.
but I work on it. So I'm just saying that it can double as a source of two revenues. Where you're using the pulp itself to do something and using the seed to do something. You can also contract buy the seeds. Because I also did that when the ones I bought with money, I had to buy those seeds. So it can be a mixture of both. Where the fruit itself is useful and then the seeds are also useful.
What was your experience buying the seeds?
We have people that usually would collect the seeds.
And as you were buying, they were not demanding for increasing price. They were not. Because that is my experience with research. The moment they see that you are coming back for something, they begin to increase the cost. Yes. Okay. I talked about seasonality.
Yes, seasonality. So we also intend to buy them in bulk quantity because we'll actually do something like forecasting. We'll have a pilot model where we can scale up as demand increases. So in that case, we would have a forecast for like maybe average monthly consumption of these things, so that we don't overstock or understock different things. So that's what we do.
You are really one in this team. CEO, chief marketing officer, you'll be the finance officer, you'll be all involved. My suggestion is you have the proof of concepts, except for the sustainability of the raw material. The proof of concept, knowing the active ingredients, the economics of it needs to actually bring it. People can bring the team together. I want you to look at the economics of contaminating, economics of financing of this kind of project for scalability. And I want to also, are you working with, can you work with others in other related disciplines, like botany or those in chemistry? Because some of the things you are doing, something others in that area must have also done. What is the substitute in case you can't get the active ingredients?
Okay, sir. So one thing that we do in the pharmaceutical industry is that I'm going to use the example of an anti-malarial drug, the artemisinin that we all know. It was firstly extracted from Artemisia annua, which is a plant, and then subsequently the demand increased, so they had to subsequently synthesize the active ingredient, having identified it before, you have to now subsequently synthesize it in the laboratories. So while I was doing my project, I'm doing project in pharmacognosy, but I had to go to pharmaceutical chemistry because I needed to use their UV spectrophotometer during my in vitro. I had to go to pharmacology also for my toxicity profile. So it's not a standalone thing. Definitely, I can collaborate with as many people as will be needed for this job.
So what are the regulations, the legal regulations, patents, if it becomes dictates? Have you thought about registration? Because Harvard, they have their own council that register Harvard. The NADA, what is the, have you done anything like find out that aspect?
Before we
Then the dosage, because some of these the usual issue with the angle measure is things like angle with the T-bar. So how many have you looked at dosage based on your research? Then why will you take to pilot this project scalability?
Okay, so the first question was about the yes. So I mentioned during my presentation that one significant difference it has is that it's actually a consistent dose. So we're not just chugging powders into the bag. It's going to be a specific dose, and the dose is going to correlate with the concentration that was observed to have exerted therapeutic effect, so that it's not overdose and it's not underdose, just the right dose needed.
So the LDD measure, how does it solve poverty?
Okay, it's actually creates employment opportunities for so many people. In the local manufacturing, we have suppliers, we have distributors, we have people themselves, personnel that will work in the place. We have people that would be involved in marketing. We have people that would be involved in sales and distribution. So those people would actually have a source of income from this individual.
Thank you very much. Let's appreciate everyone. We are moving to the second category, humanities, social sciences, and creative innovations. Faculty of Law, Oluwaseun Okun, and Samson Adeyemi.
Good afternoon, Mr. Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor, members of the Senate, all Dean of Faculty Presidents, the judges, co-innovators, and our fellow students. Standing before you this afternoon once again is Adeniran Samson Oluwadamilare and Shane Ogun from the College of Law. Now, I want to ask us a general question and put this out to us, and I would like us to answer this as at our best. All right. How many of us have always said that most students are always right? But when we run into trouble, you have to open your chat